If you haven't seen the previous video in this series, follow the link on your screen or click the link in the description or pinned comment below.
27 seconds of logo.
Is that really long, though? I mean, when you think of it in terms of why your college ex-girlfriend left, it puts it into perspective.
Obliviate.
Aren't Hermione's parents, including Caitlin Stark, going to wonder why they set out so many empty picture frames? Or why the room upstairs has teenage girls' clothes and accessories throughout? And the other muggles who know for a fact they have a daughter?
The point of obliviating her own parents is to protect them during the Second Wizarding War. You can hear them mention Australia in this scene, which coincides with the book version of this movie. Hermione sends her parents to Oz, so no one cares about the picture frames and they have no neighbors to ask these questions.
Here's another movie character walking down the center of the damn road instead of either side. It makes for a more symmetrical shot, but also a more mathematically possible death.
Okay, but she obviously didn't die. I mean, what the hell is the sin here? That it was possible she could have been hit by a car? You know, it's mathematically probable to be involved in a car accident every time you drive a car, right? Wouldn't that mean it's a sin for you to do so every day? See how dumb this justification sounds?
Part 1.
Says the guy that split his Star Wars videos into multiple parts. And just like last time, 10 sins for splitting this video into 2 videos. It's a great strategy, I will admit, but getting people to click twice for what should be the same video? Only a Sith could come up with such a thing.
But Birdman, didn't you split your Eternals videos into 2 parts?
Sure did. Mine was due to a technical issue where the RAM in my PC crapped out and all I had ready was the first part, and I didn't know when my PC would be fixed for the rest. Jeremy double-dipped. Completely different situation.
As inspiring as I find your bloodlust, Bellatrix, I must be the one to kill Harry Potter.
Makes sense to me.
What's the problem? You have a dark magician who has set his red eyes on killing one of the Phoenix Enforcers. The hero and villain's duel is totally in the cards.
My wand and Potter's share the same core. We can wound, but not fatally harm one another.
What a bunch of bullshit. You make it sound like the wand is actually part of the owner's physical being, and that twin wands know not to kill each other, which can't be true. And besides, we've seen wizards using magic without wands this entire series, and the rules have never been explained once.
What do you mean it can't be true, Luke Skywalker? Do you think magic is real and that somehow your internal logic is what determines what is true or not? The film is telling you the rules right now. Priori incantatem has been a thing demonstrated in the film since the 4th movie.
If I am to kill him, I must do it with another's wand.
Movie makes this sound like a huge problem, when it should basically be, sure thing boss, I'll just buy another one later.
As demonstrated in the first film, a wizard's wand is not only extremely important to them, it is also extremely personal, as the wand chooses the wizard. It's like saying, you had a miscarriage? Oh well, you can always make another.
You see, this scene pays off a lot more if the rules of wands were ever covered. Yeah, we get this is a big deal, and Voldemort taking Malfoy's wand means something. But that's the art of storytelling that was lost with the scene when the series decided against saying anything about it.
Ignoring old Voldy explaining it right now, are you forgetting you sinned the first Harry Potter movie? I know you skipped that part of the movie in your sins video, but you had to have seen the damn wand scene, right? They clearly show that a wizard's connection to the wand matters, as Harry's attempts at using other wands nearly destroys Ollivander's. In the second movie, Ron's wand breaks, and you complained about that too, wondering why Ron didn't just get another wand, or why the school didn't have extras. All those context clues, and you're still not getting it?
The very moment Harry decides to say goodbye to the house and leave is the moment everyone who wants to help him shows up.
No, there are a set of protections on this house that end on Harry's 17th birthday, which is why Harry had to return here every summer, something you've complained about in nearly every single Potter video. Everyone shows up to protect Harry because this was always and entirely the plan.
So we have to use those means of transport the trace can't detect. Brooms, thestrals, and the like.
The Ministry can't detect when an underage wizard uses flying brooms? Does that mean some normal-ass muggle motherfucker can get on a flying broom and make it work? Also, why didn't they just use a portkey? Or anything they used in the other chapters that Harry was able to use without the Ministry knowing or getting pissed about it?
Yeah, a no-match could theoretically ride a broomstick, because the brooms have a charm on them allowing them to fly. The reason they didn't use a portkey is because portkeys are Ministry-approved items, meaning they know about the portkey in the first place. The Flu Network is also monitored by the Ministry. If the Order listened to you, Harry's ass would be as dead as Dumbledore.
You ride with Hagrid.
I brought you here 16 years ago, when you were no bigger than a bow truckle.
Doesn't Hagrid's connection to Harry make him the most likely target in case someone is watching? Can't the Ron Weasley Harry go with Hagrid?
Tell me, Jeremy, which of the Death Eaters would know about Harry's connection with Hagrid besides Snape, who is a double agent? You played and responded to this scene as if this is public information when Voldemort was in his aborted fetus state when that happened.
Why did all the fake Harry Potters ride out in the same goddamn direction as the real Harry Potter? Why didn't they scatter from the launch site?
It's almost like they're going to the same place or something. It's also almost like they did scatter but got ambushed or something.
Hedwig summons his inner eagle and shows up to save Harry. Only problem is, I don't remember Hedwig showing up for anything other than sending messages before this scene.
First of all, Hedwig is a female, so you meant her inner eagle. And second, are you really sending the fact that a pet is trying to help protect her owner? Ah, that's right. You own cats, so you wouldn't know anything about that.
Crossing the wand streams. Bet we won't see this a dozen more times or anything.
Sending visual magic in Harry Potter.
Wait a minute, that was literally Voldemort? And he can actually get caught in the power lines? God, man, what the hell is happening?
Bro, there is no way you watched this scene and came to that conclusion. Voldemort just lost a duel to Harry's wand, cracking Lucius's wand and letting Harry escape. Voldemort's rage is what destroyed those power lines. He did not get caught in them.
Whoa, time f***ing out. Why is this woman washing her own pots and pans? We've seen tons of explicit shots throughout these movies of magical self-scrubbing dish and cookware in the kitchen. So this shot is some bullshit.
It's actually very clever. 4 of Molly's children and her husband went on a mission where they absolutely could have been killed, and one of them loses an ear. She was clearly worried, and manually washing dishes demonstrates her level of anxiety.
What creature sat in the corner the first time Harry Potter visited my office in Hogwarts?
Jesus, man, that was like 4 movies ago. And Harry's not a great student. Are you going to kill him if he doesn't remember?
First of all, Harry is a pretty decent student. Where are you getting that he's a bad one? The only class he really struggles with is potions, and that's because Snape was objectively an asshole. But not everyone forgets something moments after they see it like you apparently do. If Harry forgot the creature, then Lupin would have asked him another question, like what the boggart turned into the first time Harry saw it, or what kind of food did Lupin give him while practicing the Patronus charm.
Weren't the glasses part of the potion costume? How come Ron still has Harry glasses on, but several other fake Harrys don't?
The glasses, like the outfits, were a practical part of the disguise because Polyjuice Potion does not magically create non-organic items such as glasses. Before the Battle of the Seven Potters, you can see they all received a pair of Harry's glasses. The reason George Harry didn't have his glasses on was because his ear got blown off by Snape. You kinda need ears to wear glasses.
Yeah, it's sad, but this family has spells to do the dishes, but not to heal the wounded.
George's ear was taken by Snape's Sectum Sempra curse, a powerful form of dark magic that prevents severed body parts from being recovered.
Mundungus took one look at Voldemort and disapparated.
Wait a minute, disapparate means the same thing as apparate? I feel like Dr. Nick when he finds out inflammable means flammable.
Apparition is the noun. The verb form is based on the perspective of the third party. If the viewer sees someone disappear, they've disapparated. If the viewer sees someone appear, they've apparated. It's exactly the same as going and coming. From the perspective of someone watching someone leave, they are going. From the perspective of your college ex-girlfriend, it's about 27 seconds.
To Ronald Bilious Weasley, I leave my deluminator.
Okay, so now the deluminator is something I would probably call an illuminator. What's with the weird anti-names? And couldn't you have just given him a flashlight?
Now this is completely different. This object's purpose is to remove light. It does not illuminate as the light was already there.
The Reigns of Castamere isn't playing right now to signal the impending and shocking bloodbath.
Jeremy makes a pop culture
Hermione is definitely old enough to be hot now, right? Right?
She was 17 at the time of these events, and as you and I are living in states where that is not the age of consent, the answer is fuck no. Shame on you, East Coast.
Word has it that someone talked to her.
Jesus, what are the chances of Harry sitting down next to a newspaper columnist who just happens to be sitting close to a town gossip who just happens to know a name and location of a person Harry needs to see to advance the plot? At this wedding party that defies common sense. How would Harry have gotten this name any other way?
You mean the newspaper columnist that Harry saw in the paper you said you were too lazy to analyze?
Newspaper is so stupid and annoying, I don't even want to bother checking the articles for accuracy.
And the guy he specifically sat down next to in order to get this information in the first place?
Excuse me, sir. May I sit down?
Mr. Potter, by all means.
Movie rips off The Amazing Spider-Man, or inspires it, or shares storyboards with the production team.
Or a character not noticing something going on behind them due to headphones is a movie trope that has existed for longer than both these films?
By the way, what the hell magic spells are they using that don't require any fake Latin to work?
You have already seen a film where they showed a duel between wizards where the majority of the magic performed was non-verbal, which is something students learn in their 6th year. We're not entertaining these bullshit questions today, sir.
Obliviate.
Well, that's the second time that spell has needed to be used, but I can't help but think that this was invented specifically for this movie and to rip off Men in Black.
This is incredible. 2 straight sins and 3 in this video so far where this motherfucker blatantly forgot he's seen movies in this series where the things he's sinning has already happened before. In the second movie, you clearly saw that Lockhart tried to obliviate Ron and Harry with Ron's broken wand and it backfired on him.
What's that all about?
Probably Mad Eye's idea, in case Snape decided to come snooping.
If you say so, it clearly had you guys running out the door, so a master wizard like Snape would definitely have peed his pants and ran.
Couple things wrong with this. The first is that they wouldn't have run because that was clearly Dumbledore. The second is the group still thinks Snape is evil and are unaware he's been loyal to Albus this entire time. That spell was clearly for other Death Eaters who definitely would have been afraid.
Future romantic pairing makes zero sense, given what I know about attraction.
And let me stop you right there.
Regulus Arcturus Black.
R.A.B.
You know, R.A.B. Surely you remember that from the quick glimpse of Harry's Hitchhiker's Guide to Horcruxes earlier in the movie. Or that brief mention of R.A.B. in the Half-Blood Prince that came out a year and a half before this one. You remember they were trying to figure out who that was, right? I gotta tell you something embarrassing. I completely forgot.
Wouldn't be the first time, Douglas Quaid.
Did someone take it?
He came in the night. He took many things, including the locket.
He doesn't really have a name, but definitely a penis.
You sure about that? Also, Jeremy says boner.
Who was she? The witch, do you know?
No.
But this random newspaper on the floor does. I'm just gonna sit down and relax, because Harry's entire quest is gonna be solved by plot bots.
Hold on. Umbridge was set up 2 movies ago. It is entirely in her character to confiscate the locket from Fletcher, and it's also entirely probable that she shows up in the newspaper given her status in the Ministry. That's like being upset that VP Harris is in the news.
Movie puts in the guy from The Departed, who you didn't know was also in Braveheart, and expects me not to be distracted by that.
Everything wrong with movies. Actors are in many of them.
It's still raining inside my office. That's 2 days now.
And there's absolutely no spell in the wizarding world that stops that.
But how do I stop it raining?
Try Finite Incantatem.
Because not even the asshole upstairs could figure out such an easy spell.
It's almost like Yaxley is an evil Death Eater and not a real member of the Ministry, so he doesn't know the kinds of spells the smartest witch at Hogwarts might know. How many times does Hermione have to prove that she's smarter and more studious than most people for you to get it? Oh, I remember. You've been too busy judging her attractiveness when she was a child to catch that.
I'm pretty sure this Albert dude isn't supposed to be in court, just from the elevator scene earlier when Dolores asked why he wasn't getting out. So now that he's drawing a wand, I'm wondering why there aren't a ton of paranoid witches and wizards instantly slinging disarming spells in his direction.
You're misrepresenting this scene. From Umbridge's perspective, Harry Albert just caught the husband of a traitor who is on trial at the Ministry. Umbridge has no reason to suspect Harry Albert, nor did anyone else in the room until he attacked her.
Because, after all, Dementors can't get through elevator cages even if they're pretty much smoke.
And when have Dementors shown the ability to phase through things? Oh, never?
Knocked out real husband shows up just in time to see Weasley fake husband kiss his wife.
And you pointed out something on the screen. Why?
Again, what's the spell? Is it a stupefy spell? A kill spell? A speaking spell? And this guy has horrible aim, despite the fact that I feel like magic should be able to correct any deficiencies.
You and a lot of other YouTubers really need to learn the art of visual storytelling. You see, the movie shows you what kind of spells Yaxley is throwing at the heroes by showing him missing and hitting the wall, and that wall showing signs of damage. Clearly, this means whatever spell he is throwing at them is meant as a sort of concussive force. So you see, that's the reason the character is missing. For morons like you that absolutely need to know what spell he's shooting out of his wand in an obvious fight.
Hermione is on.
What do you think she's asking you to get the medicine for?
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
Where am I supposed to find a tent?
Again, this bag with a spell that makes it hold everything is somehow so useful you wonder why there are any conflicts in the magic world.
Yes, because the problems of Muggle genocide and pure-blood supremacy are totally solved by a bead bag that can hold anything.
Defender! Reducto!
After a series of spoken spells, Harry then throws 3 unspoken spells at the amulet, illustrating my #1 problem with this entire goddamn series.
If this is the biggest problem in these films for you, please stay far away from Dragon Ball.
Better?
Right.
But it's my burden to bear, Samwise Gamgee.
Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't.
Here begins one of the most infuriating parts of the entire series. The Ron gets jealous of Harry and Hermione rigmarole. The entire part 1 will waste loads of time on this, and camping. If this movie had been a standalone film that didn't depend on every other part before it, it would have made £4 at the box office.
Jeremy is obviously not getting that when one wears the locket, which is a Horcrux, it draws out negative emotions of the wearer. That's literally the point of the scene where Jeremy made the Lord of the Rings pop culture reference.
In the Chamber of Secrets, you stabbed the basilisk with the sword of Gryffindor. Its blade is impregnated with basilisk venom.
Well, hot damn, that's convenient sanity.
Or it's something JK had been setting up since then? Look, I know you guys at CinemaSins have no idea what a story outline is, but you're talking about one of the most decorated authors of all time. You just admitted to being unable to remember shit from a couple movies ago. Have a seat.
Hidden words ex machina.
In a movie where we're dealing with literal magic, Jeremy continues to misuse Deus Ex Machina.
You know who almost died there?
Haven't you guys long been calling him Voldemort? No longer scared of the name?
Harry had been calling him that, not everyone else. But the point is that there is a spell called a taboo on Riddle's name, causing Death Eaters to appear whenever anyone says it, which is why Harry doesn't say it here.
It scares me a bit, that. Thinking it's a piece of...
Don't say it. It's taboo, you know whose name. That's how they track people now.
How do you know that?
Overheard some bloke at the ministry talking about it.
So the plan was to turn the snake into Bagshot and then attack Harry once he got him into the house? First off, the snake is one of the Horcruxes, so that puts one of them in immediate danger. Second off, why don't you just have someone else be Bagshot, who could just Avada Kedavra Harry into oblivion?
At this point, Tom isn't aware they're destroying his Horcruxes. Once he does become aware, they show in part 2 he decides to keep Nagini by his side. And how many times does he have to state that he's the only one that gets to kill Harry? I mean, you heard him say that earlier.
A second Dear Jesus returns to Ex Machina the f*** out of this series even more. Need a break in the case, Harry? Here's the glowing deer of requirement.
Again, this is not a Deus Ex Machina. Snape, under orders from Dumbledore, is helping Harry here by showing Harry his mother's Patronus. Are you forgetting there's a war going on and that Snape is playing a double agent? And the next couple of sins are just Jeremy expressing his incredulity that the plot of the movie is happening. So I'm just going to skip this boring shit and point out that during that time he yells at the screen twice as well.
I've always liked these flames Hermione makes.
Me too. Oh, you meant the literal... Got it.
She's 17. 17, guys.
I think he knew that somehow I'd need it to find my way back, and she'd lead me.
If Dumbledore had that kind of foresight, he wouldn't be dead.
You're aware that Dumbledore is dead on purpose, right?
There were once 3 brothers who were travelling along a lonely, winding road at twilight.
Mum always said midnight, but Twilight's fine. Better, actually.
Ron betrays the Harry Potter series by saying Twilight is better. I bet he's even on Team Jacob, the bastard. Also, Ron is only in this movie to boost the runtime through buffoonery that is excessive even by Ron standards.
One could say the same about you in these videos.
Only when he attained a great age did the youngest brother shed the cloak of invisibility and give it to his son.
Wait, did the youngest brother f*** with the cloak of invisibility on? How did he get a wife when he was invisible? The youngest brother had some mad game.
Taking obvious allegories at face value.
The heroes touch a thing and are instantly whisked to a place.
Jeremy, they're holding hands and are disapparating. How do you fail at pointing things out on the screen?
Why are they running? Why not run together and apparate again? Why not use that spell you used in the first goddamn movie that turned Neville frozen? God, these movies drive me f***ing crazy.
That's because you're horrible at paying attention. They're obviously separated, meaning they cannot apparate, which was the point of the previous scene showing they needed to hold hands. They are also severely outnumbered, meaning they could try to fight but would obviously lose. Imagine being unable to comprehend a Harry Potter movie.
Once again, a magical person does not need to speak the spell out loud in order for it to work. And this one is extremely specific.
How many times does a movie have to explicitly show you that something is possible in that universe for you to stop questioning it? You would have me if this only happened once and never again, but if it's happening over and over, clearly it's a thing.
All bad guys are rapists.
Says the guy that has been sexualizing this kid for 7 films. That's like R. Kelly chiming in on the Cosby case and going, damn, bruh, I wouldn't have done that.
Give me a wand. We'll see what her last spell was.
Wands are f***ing iPhones now.
Actually, I agree with this end. That shit sounds ridiculous, but not as ridiculous as that laugh.
Well, good thing they keep a lantern handy down in the Malfoy dungeons.
Jeremy thinks lanterns wouldn't be useful in dungeons, which of course means that Jeremy would be bad at dungeoning.
Dobby is a free elf.
Because of that accidental sock loophole. I will never forget that bullshit.
Oh, so there are things you remember from the second film, eh? Then that means forgetting Lockhart using Obliviate, an actual part of the main plot, is extra sinful.
Why do they need Dobby's help apparating at this point? They have wands. They were doing it on their own earlier. The f***, man.
Jesus H. Christ. They are holding hands because the person apparating takes them to a specific place. If they didn't, they'd have no way of knowing where the other person went outside of saying their destinations aloud, which would kill the utility of running away in this manner.
Movie expects me to feel horrible for Dobby, and movie is wrong, because the movie is responsible for putting him in this situation.
That makes absolutely zero sense. This man just said that movies evoking an emotional response from its audience is sinful because the movie created the situation that caused that event. I'm sorry, but did I miss, in the history of storytelling, a story's events happening because of something set up outside of that story? What? Oh, it's my turn, I guess. I'll be narrating the next episode, because there's 2 movies and there's 2 of us. Get it? You're probably also wondering why there's Japanese on the screen right now. That's because PB is a weeb. It means to be continued, and Arceus knows why he didn't just put that. Anyway, see you guys in a few. So, I'm still in command?
Careful not to choke on your aspirations, Director.
These nuts, these nuts, these nuts, these nuts. All right, I'm not gonna do the rest because, yeah, they're starting to copyright claim people for doing covers on YouTube now, and you probably think I'm making that up, but I'm totally not. And this shit is wild, so I can't take too many chances.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Jeremy Scott the Cynical? I thought not. It's no story his fanboys would tell you. It's a reviewer's legend. Jeremy Scott was an online critic, so woke and so pretentious that he could use the power of the parody to convince 9 million people that he was correct. He had such a knowledge of the satire that he could keep others from questioning him. But the dark side of the cynic is a pathway to many conclusions some consider to be incorrect. His criticisms became so streamlined that the only thing he was afraid of was losing his relevance, which eventually, of course, he did. Unfortunately, he showed his followers everything he knew about criticism, and then they turned it on him. It's ironic. He believed anything could be criticized, but not himself.
Remember, guys, if you want me to read something aloud at the end of these videos, please use the super thanks, and try to make it funny like these guys did.